Today I'm going to share with you a very simple but major technique psychologically to create better work and personal relationships in order for you to have a better, enjoyable and successful life and create stronger relationships in your world. Make sure you watch this video and let me know how you like it. Please subscribe right now if you haven't done yet and give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Hey superstar, you can be proud of yourself. You found this channel because you want more out of your life. Normal is not in your dictionary and you know you can get whatever you dream about. Less talking, more action. My name is Anna Russo, your new success host. Welcome to my podcast, Luxury Problems. Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video here. Every Friday on Luxury Problems I'm releasing one episode, either with an absolutely amazing guest that has been going through ups and downs in their career, and I'm sharing their success stories here on my channel. But as I do it today, I'm going to release an episode where we're talking about topics that you can relate in your day-to-day business and day-to-day life. I'm a true believer of there is not only business and there's not only personal life. This is like a work-life balance, and also it goes way deeper into why are we here for, what is our purpose, how do we find our purpose, but also how to deal with other people in our day-to-day life. And I think that's super important because it's all about the balance, guys. If you are super successful in your business but you don't maintain your personal relationship, it doesn't bring you all the money if you're not happy with your personal life. Today I want to share a super simple technique with you guys that you can use not only in your business relationships but also with your personal relationships, with your neighbor, with somebody in the supermarket, whoever you're interacting with, but a technique that you can use in order to turn things around in your favor. Why I specifically talk about that? First of all, it's something that really interests me myself. I really love psychology. I love how to analyze other people, how they're thinking, what's their progress in their head, their thought patterns, and how can we use that knowledge in our advantage to proceed the things that we want without missing out on anything and being disrespectful to somebody and having something end up in a fight. I will share this amazing technique with you, but first of all I want to talk with you about personal relationships. There's different people out there. There's people that really love to socialize. They love talking with others. They have a super easy time interacting with others, making new friends. You probably know these kids in school that always are super open, that are talking to any other kid in the school. They're just like always coming home with new friends. And then you have these kids that barely even have one friend. They just sit by themselves and they're not really talking a lot. I can definitely admit that I was one of these kids. I didn't have like a lot of friends, but it had different reasons. I got bullied a lot when I was in school, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. So I was, in order to get liked, I gave away my lunchbox. You know, I gave away my lunch so people, they're making no fun of me no more. That was a mental damage very early in my life that I now realize that it got all the way through my whole life. No matter if I was 15, if I was 20, 25, there's certain thought patterns that I still have. Not as much no more, but that are still there because of that bullying situation when I was a very young child. Sometimes you don't even realize why we are the way we are because it goes way deeper. It's not just coming overnight. Things develop over time. Same with food. You're not just overnight gaining 20 pounds. Like, you put some work in order to gain these 20 pounds over the past few years. And the same with anything else. If you see yourself in a really damaged relationship and you're like, why is it that way? It's not just because overnight something happened. In the process, being with somebody, if that's personal, but also if it's in a business relationship, there were certain things where already damage happened, but it was never solved, and people never were willing to talk about and solve it. And that's how, when the foundation is not stable no more, there's going to more things adding up and more things adding up and more things adding up, and at the end of the day, the complete house is falling down because the roof is not stable no more, because already the foundation was not there. I hope you understand what I mean. But back to the topic with the kids, most of the people, if they have certain mental disorders, I call them, and you're not cuckoo just because you have a mental disorder. There is many people that live in a victim mentality. Everything that you say to them, they will say, oh, always me, just because of this and just because of that and just because I am the way I am, that's why I'm always, oh, poor me. And sometimes this can be people that, are super successful, and you would never think, why is that person putting themselves in such a victim mentality just because they cannot take responsibility for their own actions? Admitting a mistake is not a bad thing, but we have been taught as kids, when we did a mistake, it's bad, and that's why kids got hit. Maybe if you come from a bad upbringing and if you got hit by your parents, then that's associated with, okay, then I rather don't tell people that I did a mistake, but then I rather project the mistake to them and blame them for my behavior because that's easier and puts me in a better position again. But that's a very poor mindset, and I would want to highly recommend everybody out there, if you sometimes have certain traits that are exactly what I said right now. I'm not putting my finger on you right now. I want you to gain better work and personal relationships, and by doing this specific thing, pointing your finger on others, while you're the person where you already know deep down it's not correct what you're doing, please stop doing it. Please, just in order for your successful and happy future, don't do this no more, and really start narrowing down, what is it that triggers me so much? What is this specific thing that my boss always tells me that I'm always getting so angry and so mad about, even though I know he's the one who's not right? Or why is my partner triggering this in me so much that I'm completely freaking out and losing control sometimes and say things I would never say to a person? And if you can do that and you sit down, by the way, I am big on top of that list because I love analyzing myself. I love sitting down and thinking about, okay, I got right now super crazy verbally attacked by somebody, and this person really points their finger on me. Then I'm asking myself, Anna, where did you fuck up? What was the point that this person has actually right? What is it that I can work on in order for this not to happen no more? There's certain behaviors that are just not correct. Mostly when you see somebody talking that specific way or pointing the finger on you, those are mostly people that you hear talking negatively in front of you about others. Sometimes it's your boss or your coworker just talking to you and saying, hey, have you heard Christine, the other coworker? She just broke up with her boyfriend and she's the bitch that's always blah, 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 blah. I don't even know if I can say that here on YouTube. But then pay attention, because if you hear somebody talking that way about somebody else that you both know to you, you definitely know that that person will talk about you at some point the same type of way to Christine eventually. And if you have these situations, a big thing that you can do is, let's say we have the same situation, you're at the work and your coworker Brandon is talking about Christine, and he's like, hey, this blah blah blah, she's like this and this. Then I would say, you know what, Brandon, you might be right with a few things you said, but first of all, it is not mine and it is not your business. As long we both are not getting hurt by her actions, it is none of our business. We can be there for her if we want to support her or her boyfriend or whatever situation, but it is not our right to talk about somebody. I don't want to talk with you about this because you eventually talk about me the same way behind my back. That is the right thing to do. You pointed out a certain trait, a certain habit that somebody has, and these people, again, probably will feel attacked. So that person probably is not expecting you to protect that co-worker Christine, because certain people just love gossip. They love talking about others, but they have so many own problems that they like to overshadow it with other people's problems. And if you point that out to that specific person and let them know that this is not the right way to do things, there's two possibilities. It's either that this person says, hey, you know what, actually, thanks for pointing that out and thanks for letting me know. I actually didn't want to be that rude. And they might be still would have said that to somebody else, but in the same time, sometimes it's important. It will always be that one person that make a little change in your life. And if somebody is able to point something out, a negative habit, a negative thing that you do that you know it's not correct, but it just makes you feel better, then you already did a great job. So either the person says, hey, you might be right, it's not really cool what I did, I apologize. Or second, that person completely starts to avoid you and will never talk to you about somebody else again. They might talk about you the same way, but honestly, isn't it a big gain if that person will disappear out of your life, because that's not the type of energy you want to surround yourself with. Or the technique that I want to share with you today is the mirror technique. You might have heard already, as above, so below, negative, positive, good, bad. There's always to each thing an equal opposite, and that's just how life is created. That's why I personally love quantum physics so much, because in quantum physics you learn everything about life. You will learn how the law of the universe works, law of our whole being in our existence. It's every action has a reaction and everything has a consequence. Can be a consequence in a very good way, but also a consequence in a negative way. So you cannot just always keep robbing banks and expect that you never end up in jail. You eventually get caught at some point. Yes, you maybe were able to spend a lot of money and had a great time, but then is it worth to go to jail for it? You know, like see the balance, but there's always a consequence with everything you do. Most people call it karma too, which is the same thing. And if you do very good things and many good things and you feel like you never get rewarded, it will come at the right time. It will come and you will get rewarded big time. These are the things that you always have to keep in mind. I actually caught myself when I was a teenager. I caught myself being in a similar situation that I just said with Brandon and Christine. By the way, that's just a random made up names. If I know personally some Christine and Brandon, I don't mean you guys. That was just kept popping in my head. I actually caught myself by gossiping, big time gossiping. And then I had a situation where this person that me and somebody else was gossiping about, they were just randomly standing behind us and we didn't even realize. I think I've never had such an embarrassing feeling, and I maybe was 15, 16, so that's like over 15 years ago already. But that feeling is still so present in my head that from this day on, I gave myself a rule. Actually, I should have known it better because I got bullied in school and I know the feeling how bad it is. But again, maybe I was not happy with my own life and certain things I was not really confident about, and I needed to talk about somebody else in order to feel better myself, and which is completely wrong. So you see, I'm not an angel in that way as well. We're all humans and we all are growing with each year and each experience. When that happened, I swore I will never ever talk about anybody, no matter how much anger or whatever feeling I have. I will never talk negative about nobody no more. If I really have a deep problem with somebody, I grab my balls and I go to the person and I will talk to their face and clear it right away. Not only am I simply wasting my time talking about somebody else with somebody else, and they're not even able to change or solve the problem, but if you go directly to the person and you tell them, hey, listen, I don't like what you did here and there, and I feel like it's not right, then you are working on a really constructive solution. Because that's the only person that can make a change, or that's the only person that can apologize if they did something wrong. I gave myself a rule, which is, if I have the urge or the feeling to talk about somebody, no matter if it's really with my bestie or somebody totally random that I just met, if I talk about somebody else, I always picture myself that this person is standing in the room with us. And I'm only saying the things that I also would say if that person would be in the room. That keeps the whole situation respectfully. You will never get any negative feedback that you talk bad about others, but you're able to give constructive criticism. And if you're able to implement this in your daily life, you are carrying yourself with so much more grace and respect, and people look at you in a complete different way. If I now meet people that really talk shit about others, I'm not really engaging, and I'm always saying I don't really know that person and it's not my right to judge them at no point. And that helps sometimes to, make other people think about what they're doing, how they're talking, because who are we? Who are we to judge others for what they're doing? Same with politics, same with anything. Some people really like to get into a fight and argument when it's about politics and all these things that you see on TV. I'm not even engaging in this. Am I getting paid what the politics getting paid? No. So why I should even offer them my opinion, what I think about whatever they're doing, if it's the elections or anything, is just not my business, and me myself, I can't do anything about it. So why wasting my absolute excellent valuable time for something that doesn't gain anything for me? I rather surround myself with people that I know I don't need to bullshit them. I can be real with them and they can be real with me. That's the type of energy I want to have around me in order to create a much better life for myself. You will raise your vibration so much you don't even know. It will be a huge game changer. That was an example like with co-workers. In the same time, you sometimes have situations in your personal relationship. Let's say you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife, and you really start to realize that your partner is developing these victim mentalities and always like pointing out the things. Even though they do a lot of things that are not correctly, they will turn every single argument that you guys have into a situation where they're blaming you, that you did something wrong, that you're the person that is always saying this and that. and they even start talking that you did something that you didn't even do. So that's already going into a very narcissistic behavior. And if you find yourself in a relationship like this, and sometimes that just develops over the time, you can't even blame yourself that you got into a relationship like this. Then you have to see, okay, what is it really that this person is the way they are? Don't attack them verbally. Don't get triggered too much. Don't waste your amazing energy on arguing and fighting. Think about what is it that this person needs to offend themselves so much. Why they have to pretend and show off. Is it because maybe when they were a child they didn't get the love that they're supposed to get from their parents? Did they always have to prove to their parents certain things in order to receive respect and love, and that they were proud of them? There's many psychological things that happen in our childhood that we don't realize, and they carry on until this age where you are right now. Can be 20, can be 40, can be 60, can be going for ages. But that doesn't mean that you, when somebody is 60, you can still teach them and show them that certain things are just not correct. And no matter if they say, oh, but I'm 60 and you can't change me no more. It's not about change. It's about showing others how to make life more livingable. Is this the right word? Livingable? Valuable and enjoyable. Because yes, they continue to do this. They can continue being negative and project all their mistakes on you. But at some point, that relationship will be again on a very unstable foundation. There just need to be one thing happening, and one brick is falling down that foundation. It's probably end up in a breakup or a divorce. That's the type of stuff you want to avoid. So if you spot these type of behaviors, you can point these things out. Talk with your partner about it. Say, I realized that whenever we have an argument or a discussion, that you always try to protect yourself. I don't want to have an argument or a fight with you. I just want to make our situations better. What is it that you would like to share with me that maybe was not so beautiful in your childhood? Did you have to pretend? Did you have to gain love or respect? I'm really here to understand you better and love you better. And if you go to the person, even though you have so much anger and you feel like so anti and you just could like tear them apart in this moment, if you go that route, you will receive so much more information and solution. Because if you just fight them, then you have two poles that are the same way, and you're never gonna get like this. And sometimes it has to be like this. Some people are just not meant to be with each other, but they had a reason that they're being each other's life to learn certain lessons, to get better for somebody else that is meant for you to come in your life. But sometimes there is certain things and missions that you have to accomplish. Don't think the universe is not watching you. If you just take the easy route and with one little argument you snip out of a relationship, snip out of a marriage, then the universe sees that you don't put the work in. Some of you may laugh, but karma is real. As above, so below. Every action has a reaction. So yes, you can protect your beautiful heart and not get heartbroken all the time and say, okay, that's just not for me, let's just break up. You can do that. But if you have never tried to work on it before and give a person a chance to prove they're maybe willing to change or willing to do things better. And by the way, when I say change, I don't mean that you should be changing a person. If you met somebody the way they are, then you agree to the personality traits and the characteristics that that person brings with it. It's like buying a wash machine. You go to the supermarket or to the market, you see the wash machine, the way it is right there, you sign a contract, you pay for it, you take the thing home. But when you home and you start complaining that this wash machine has not an included dryer, then this is your fault. And you can't force that wash machine to be a dryer at the same time. Do you understand what I mean? I think that's a little bit easier to explain. If you agree to somebody, then you agree to the person that you met at the first place. Yes, there's always improvement, and yes, there are certain things that you can't see right away when you get with somebody. They just come out after a while when you've been with somebody, but then it's important that you point these things out. Don't just like swallow everything. Point things out immediately so the person has the chance to work on it if they are willing to work on it. Of course, if there's like such a huge mountain of stuff to work on it and new stuff that they develop over the time, then it's gonna be a hard time for you to, just accept everything the way it comes, because, that's just not what you meant at the first place. But what I realized, what is a good thing to do, but also here, if it comes to a point where you try to help them, try to explain things, show them that you're willing to work with them, and you're still feeling there's just resistance, and they start being very disrespectful to you or negative towards you, even though you tried your best to make this work, and they say things they might hurt you, then the mirror technique comes into play. Even if it's hard for you, but if there's certain things they do that really trigger you, keep that in mind. That is so key. Then this is a specific thing that you actually have an issue with that needs to be worked on. Because certain people are just triggered by certain specific topics. But that means at some point in your life that was an issue, or the emotion that comes with it is an issue, and you need to work on that. Don't just try to avoid it with distraction. Some people have a bunch of problems, but they don't like to work on them. It's nothing wrong going to a therapy. If you feel like there is something you need to work on, go to a professional. Don't just call your mom and your dad and your sister, your brother, or all your friends and tell them about your relationship problems. No, that's not the right thing. Then you actually bring your own personal business into the world for people that they have no reason to be involved in your business. Same with Brandon and Christine. It's none of their business. If you really get help from somebody that knows about certain things, they can give you really professional advice how you can implement these things into your relationship. If you really feel that's triggered by something, then you gotta do this. If there's a situation where this person really does something that you hate so much, you hate it so much that you just could freak out, but you stay calm. Because if you deal with a narcissist, for example, they love to get resistance. They love to prove that you're the person that is wrong, and that, they want your anger. They want that feedback. But if you show them that you're not bothered by it no more, that you losing interest, then that's something that really bothers them. And if you then do the same thing that they do to get you mad, you do the same thing, they feel like, okay, hold on, what's going on? Now I cannot even point my finger on them no more. Like, what's going on here? So if they feel unsure, if they feel like something is not what's normally going on, they start to see their own behavior and they don't like it at all. And these things are important to reflect what other people did to you, what they damaged on you. There's many people, they just do things, they're just careless. This is just, some people have a characteristic, they just don't care. They care about themselves, and everything else is just secondary. And that can be anything. That can be the simplest stuff. Some people are just careless. If that's just letting the water run for 1 hour without even using it, or cooking but leaving always a huge mess, but knowing I have a partner that's cleaning up anyways. That type of behavior, some people just never learned it. And most of the time, those people that are always putting themselves into victim mode, when they were kids and they were in trouble, they're always putting their parents in front of them. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna have my mom handle it. I'm gonna call my mom and then you see what's gonna happen. And mostly these moms, unfortunately, also were playing this game and saying, oh, my daughter, my son, blah, blah, blah. And then as a kid, no matter what you do, there's never a consequence because you have somebody that will handle it for you. But when you're grown up, you want to bring your mom, your dad. They're probably already like 80, 90 years old and are not able to handle stuff for you no more. It's important to take responsibility for your own actions. And again, it's all about the way you carry yourself. If you always feel like that person you're talking about is in the room and that's the way how you talk, then that shows a lot about your character. If you still talk really negative and you say curse words about a person that is even in the room, then it shows how insecure you are about yourself. These insecurities just need to be worked on. And sometimes it's good that these things happen and you completely exposed about people realizing what kind of character you have, because that will help you to, start thinking about and realizing, damn, I actually thought I can get away with this for so long, and now I feel like I got exposed and it's embarrassing, but I can't really hide that no more. So I just gotta work on it. I have to prove I'm not that type of person. And if somebody has that awakening and this realization, that is so important and such a huge step for everybody that is struggling with that. For those who watching this video right now and you might be having these characteristics and habits of doing certain things, then I don't want you to be negative on my video. I don't want you to hate on me because I said it, because I know how that is. I told you my situation was a teenager. Fortunately, I caught myself doing it in a very early stage. If I would have continued being that way until now, that's 17 more years doing the same thing, and it gets stronger and stronger. It's like if you do a certain thing for long, it gets even tighter and it's getting more harder to get out of your system. It's a routine. You have to train that. It's with everything else. You just gotta train that. If you're watching this video, don't give me a thumbs down, please. I'm here to help you and show you what you can do in order to change the way how you handle certain things. Because I feel like everybody deserves a beautiful life, and that comes with full responsibility. If you take full responsibility for everything you do, then you never have to depend on anybody out there. Because if you just blame somebody else, who you are doing this? You want to gain any points from your teacher, like a well done sticker in your little book? Like, we have to think like adults. It's not like we have to prove anything, but because it's so programmed since our childhood that certain things need to be deserved or gained and appreciated, that's how we still carry that on into some people in a late age, and it will get harder and harder to get out of your system. And that's why I love to use the mirror technique on everybody that I feel like I don't know what to do no more. If I really tried my best and helping somebody to go through stuff and I still receive that resistance and still receive this, battling and all that stuff, when I feel like it's just going nowhere and I have no energy to discuss no more, I'm just gonna do the mirror technique, because they hate seeing their own behaviors on the other person. And try it a few times. Let me know how it works. But I definitely know you are going to gain some result. And of course you can't do this non-stop, because you're going to start implementing these behaviors into your routine and your life, and that's not what should happen. But eventually that person is going to reach out to you and say, hey, maybe I realized that there's some stuff I didn't do right. If that happens, then that's exactly what you wanted. Clarity and openness to discuss certain things. But some people just are not willing, not open, not realizing that they're not doing the right thing. And then it's up to you if you want to continue this type of relationship. If it's with your boss, if it's with your co-workers, if it's with your friends, if it's with your partner, it doesn't matter with which relationship. That was a big example in a relationship. Then we talked about the co-workers talking behind somebody's back. Same thing with friends. And what happens a lot is I actually have people joining my coaching program that are telling me, hey, I have these friends and now I told them I'm going to work on my business and I want to do it different and I'm going to do this and that. I'm going for it. And now they start acting weird and they're not really supporting me no more. They said, oh, you changed so much. You don't have no time for your friends no more. You got egoistic, selfish. Then you already know that these are maybe friends that you might not should have in your circle no more, because they might have acted as friends. But if you ask yourself, why are they even in your life? Have you been a good support for them? Have you always been there when they needed you? Have you gave them money sometimes if they need it? Have you been a good point to reach out when they had problems? Then that might be the reason why these people are around. They're not really friends because they are a good support system for you, but they know they can always come to you whatever they need. And then you know you're just gonna be used. And it's hard, it's so hard to get this realization and understanding that you just have been used. And it happened to me so much. I had so many friends in my teenager years. Again, I was acting a different way. I was not the person that I am today. I was about, yes, talking about others, gossiping here, and but in the same time I also always was a kind person and was doing hair and makeup for free for my friends. I gave them my lunchbox, I gave them this and that just to be accepted. But I didn't realize that these people were only in my life because they knew they can get all that. Somebody told me once that once I stop doing my hair and makeup for free to my friends, once I start charging them, I'm going to be able to see on one hand how many friends do I have left, which I did, because I felt like it was so overwhelming over the time that I always was giving, and I felt just drained and I didn't have enough money to pay for my stuff no more, that I was like, what do I have to lose at this point? I'm just gonna tell them no. I'm just gonna tell them, oh, I'm going to charge for this service from now on. And it was the saddest thing, the most, I don't even know what to say. Back then it really was hurting situation for me. I could not believe that I was used so much from so many people. And I really could count on one hand who I had left as my very dear good friends. Of course, I do have my best friend Sarah. We know each other since we poo in our Pampers. And shout out to Sarah, my love. She just got her second baby. And I wish her all love and blessings to her and her beautiful family. They've been through so much, and just seeing them so happy just fulfills me. And these feelings, if you have those for your friends, for somebody you just like if it's at work or your partner, if you have these emotions, this is like a deeper connection. That's not just some random person that and whatever, when you need them, that's why you're around. No, you want to surround yourself with people that wish the best for you and also that are there when you need them. That's very rare. You can't find these people all over the world. And just realizing that sometimes you're just being used is not the easiest thing. But also, again, that's the same technique. It's the mirror technique. Somebody always just using you but is not there for you. When you show them, well, from now on I'm gonna act the same way, they're either gonna be acting up and saying, oh, you changed, because they want you to feel bad about yourself, That's a trick they're using. But if they realize they do the same thing, they probably disappear, because those people always search for their victims that they can use in order to get where they want to be. I would say it's the same thing like a career in Hollywood. You have these people that are always absolutely committed with what they're doing. They're absolute hustlers. They came to LA, to Hollywood for a mission. They either actors, singers, models, makeup artists, whatsoever, and they have a mission and they stick to it, and they mostly work alone by themselves and hustle their way to the top. And yes, there's going to be collaborations and people you meet that you work with, but these people are not really trying to use somebody else in order to get where they want to be. I'm talking about a selected group of people if you're professional. But then there is these people, sometimes not even with a lot of talent, that are coming to Hollywood. Can be any other major city too, but I'm talking about Hollywood because it's so obvious here. There's people that have not even a lot of talent, and they come to Hollywood and they just want to be a starlet. They just want to be fame and just want to be known and seen, and that's why they would do anything in order to get to where they want to be. And I'm talking anything, and it's sad to say that, but since I am in the industry and I see so many beautiful young women that, they just want to be fame, they just want to be acknowledged, they really would sell their soul in order to be famous and be somewhere on TV. And I always say, if you can look into the mirror next day for all the things that you do in your career, and you can be so proud of yourself and say, hey, whatever I do or did, I'm proud of it, the way I achieved it, that's the most important thing. If you have to sleep your way up to your success, you have to be with certain men, or you're just dating certain guys because that's the only way how you're getting successful or known, then you have to just ask yourself if that's something that you are okay with, even though 20 years from now and you have kids and that's a story you would share with them, then it's another situation. But I always would ask myself, am I proud of how I got there? Is this really something that I'm proud of? If that's something that I created with my own hands, with my own blood, sweat, and tears? And if you can, that's fine. But if you cannot, then just ask yourself, what can I change in order to get to where I want to be with my own hands, with my own ideas, with my own creations? And same for guys too. I mean, there's always everything for boys and for girls that, they're not doing right. I know women have like a bad image when it comes to that and sleeping their way to the top, but it's a really serious thing, and it's happening there every single day, 100 times. And I want to encourage all of you, work on your personal and business relationships. Work on deep connections. Work with people where you feel like they would want to work with you, not because they know they can get in bed with you, but because they see your value and they see what you're capable of doing. And if you have a clear communication, then that's the easiest thing to find out. And some people ask me, yeah, but how do I find out if that person is really serious? Well, first of all, if you have a business meeting, and there's a lot of business meetings happening out here in Hollywood, but if you have a meeting, first of all, make sure it's not happening at nighttime. Oh, we have dinner, blah, 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 and drinks and whatsoever. First of all, when you have a dinner and drinks, you probably talk about everything but not business, and people are going to be so tipsy and drunk that they forgot what you were talking about with them the next day. And the only reason why they want to go with dinner with you probably is because they want to take you home and discuss business with you there. So if you're a woman, and I mean, of course, can be for guys too, but I think women are more likely in a situation like that. If you have the choice, make sure you meet during the day, not meet in a private place. Please meet somewhere where there's other people. If it's a coffee shop, if it's a restaurant or if it's like a office center, that's all good, but don't meet in a private area. And just shows you how serious somebody is about business and about what you do. If somebody never requested a resume, if they never requested any of your work, if they never ask you questions about you and what you're doing for a living and what have you been doing so far, but a person wants a meeting, you know they're not going to meet up because they're interested in what you're doing. So I really want to help everybody out there just to see their own value and understand what it is that you need to understand in order to not get jerked and not to get, taken advantage of. Because it's the worst thing, the worst feeling if you know you have just been used. And sometimes that has to happen because sometimes that's the only way how people learn and realize what they have to do different. But once you show people the mirror, which you could do here in the same time, is saying, hey, since you want to meet at night for dinner and drinks, let's meet for breakfast and let's discuss that because after this I have an appointment meeting. Then you will see if somebody's really down with you or not. I hope that all of that today made sense. I know I was like bringing a lot of different situations on deck, co-workers, relationships, friendships, but I just want to show you no matter who you interacting with, no matter who it is you're talking to, no matter what that specific person has a stand in your life, it is the way we react, and we cannot blame it on others. If you chose a certain job, then you are responsible for having that boss that is attached to that job. If you don't like that, you have to put the work in, either finding a solution to make this job better, having a communication with your boss, or taking responsibility and quit again. You cannot blame all the time your boss for something that you never discussed with him about. It's always our own behaviors. But if you want to make a change, then please use the techniques that I was just giving you today. Because if you use the mirror technique and if you act like that person you're talking about is always in the room with you, it is going to be such a huge game changer. And I'm so excited for you to try that out from now on. It's gonna take some practice. It's not gonna be like this in your head, but you will realize the more you do it, you catch yourself doing certain things and you're like, that's not correct, let me rethink, and that's actually how I should do it. And if you see somebody else is doing it, point it out on them. They are lucky to have you as a friend or partner or employee if you help them to get a better person for themselves. That's nothing else. And that's what we all are here for. We are here on this planet as one. We are a collective. There's not you. We are all one. That's why it's called we. And we is I. And if I don't respect somebody else, I simply don't respect myself. And that's why it's so important to constantly work on yourself and also acknowledge the things that maybe are not correct and saying, hey, yeah, I fucked up, but I'm willing to work on it, and thank you for letting me know. And long story short, if you like that video, I absolutely appreciate a thumbs up, a subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, because that helps me to create more content like this. And I'm still growing, and of course I would love to have a huge community with people that are seeking more, that want to get more out of their own lives in order to be better, not for themselves but for everybody out there, because we have one life, guys, one life, and we want to make it absolutely enjoyable and amazing, and looking back in our next body and say, hey, I did create an awesome life for myself. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know how you like that video, and also comment down in the section below what's What's it that you would love to make a change on? What is it that you can still work on in order to become that better version of yourself? Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye bye.